What's up, everyone? Kevin Oak here, getting into another video. I wanted to get into that series again. I started a little while back, but didn't actually do that many videos on it. But it's called Why I'm Doing What I'm Doing. So for this video, specifically, I wanted to get into paused front squats as well as sumo deadlifts. So the deadlifts were my first session of my prep for the tribute meet. I'm 10 weeks out, or a little inside of 10 weeks out. But let's get right into the pause front squats. The reason that I do these and the reason I'm doing them pause is because I want to focus on control. So this isn't my main squat day. This is kind of a secondary day that I'm using in order to kind of spread out my deadlifts and bench days, which I'll probably get into a little later in terms of my overall split. But obviously this isn't a back squat, this is a front squat. Now the tendency of a front squat for people is to try to go down as fast as possible and get as much of a stretch reflex as possible. I'm actually going for the opposite. So this is a quad dominant exercise. It's taking a lot of the posterior chain out, which will help me in terms of recovery for my deadlift days as well as my back squat days. So in terms of that, I am getting to recover a little better. And one of the key things I'm focusing on in this prep is just staying healthy and just getting to the platform in one piece. Because at the end of the day, if you hit a bunch of training PRs but you don't make it to the platform, which is what happened to me in the US Open prep, then it was kind of all waste. So basically my number one goal is to actually get to the platform overall in terms of everything. But with pausing front squats, what it does is it makes you stay in control. So a lot of the reasons people get the quad tendonitis issues is that they're going down as fast as they can so they can take advantage of the stretch reflex, which is okay, especially when you're like closer to a comp maybe. But for the majority of the year when you're training, when you're not in comp prep, when you're not close to a meet, you don't want to descend that fast in your squats. You want to go quick, but you don't want to go, where you're just bouncing off your knees constantly, because that puts a ton of pressure on your quad tendons. I'm someone who gets quad tendonitis from time to time. It's taken me out of training for months at a time before. So it's something that I have to continuously focus on and make sure that I'm always doing things to kind of be preventative. So doing these will allow me to focus on actually constantly being in control of my quads while I'm doing the entire set or the entire rep. So that's primarily why I'm doing them. I'm also just getting used to actually using a barbell for front squats again. I haven't really barbell squatted since before I started powerlifting. I used to do it all the time, but once I started powerlifting, I stopped doing a lot of things with my shoulders, and my shoulders just got real tight. So I'm just now actually being able to do front squats with a barbell as opposed to the SSD bar. But generally I'm doing these, one, for recovery purposes, where I can get a squat day in and get some work in, get some leg work in, without killing myself, and also leaving my posterior chain alone, which will break up and give me more recovery between my back squat day and my deadlift day, which overall should have me feeling fresher for all of my workouts through the entirety of the prep. And then second, I'm doing it to stay in control with my quads. That's why I'm pausing them, so that I can kind of keep that quad tendonitis that day and it doesn't become a problem. So that is why I personally do front squats. I don't want to do front squats where I'm going a million miles an hour and bouncing off the bottom, and then before you know it, my knees feel like they're broken. These have been fun thus far. The hardest part for me has just been getting used to having the barbell kind of like on my throat. Just not used to that. The weight has not been a problem, obviously. This is my top set, you can see here. This was 505. This is a barbell front squat PR for me technically, even though I was able to do a slight pause with it. But I can definitely do substantially more once I just get used to holding the weight there. You can see how that moves. Obviously the weight was a joke, but I was actually kind of blacking out as I was coming up and walking it in. You can see I was just shaking because it was just on my air passage. So I'll get used to it, but something tells me I'll be front squatting 600 fairly soon. We'll see. I might get stuck in the mid-5s, but I'll keep upping the weight. Also, a lot of people are like, oh, that's not a pause, blah, 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 blah. people, again, do different lifts for different reasons. I do pause squats specifically to take the stretch reflex out of motion. That's all I'm doing. So whether it's a split second, whether it's 20 seconds, pause as long as you want. When I do pause squats personally, all I'm trying to do is take the stretch reflex out. So I stop and I go. That's it. It could be a third of a second, I don't really care. As long as I take the stretch reflex out of the motion, that's a pause squat for me, and that's all I need. That's why I'm doing them. You may do them for a different reason, where you're trying to hold tension at the bottom of the squat for 5 seconds. That's the training stimulus you're going for. Whatever you're going for, just know why you're doing something and do it. Like I said, I do pause squats simply to take the stretch reflex out. That's why I don't pause for that long. But getting into sumos, so a lot of you know, I tend to train sumo the majority of the time, but I compete conventional. So why do I train sumo? Well, conventional is very natural for me. I was a runner, jumper, very linear. So it's very easy for me to go to conventional where your knees are going straight forward. It's a very natural position for me. It feels like I'm in a jumping position. So my issues actually stem from having tight hips, having poor external rotation in my hips, and having weaker glutes and weak hips, weak hamstrings. So training conventional and doing conventional doesn't really help me build strength much. It's more a display of strength than anything. But sumo is what actually helps me build, for the most part, my actual deadlift strength. So the majority of the time you'll see me pulling sumo, so I can work on my hip mobility, so I can work on the external rotation of my hips, so I can work on my hip strength, so I can work on my glute strength. That's why you tend to see me just do sumo. Leading up to a meet during prep, I'll usually do conventional like 2 or 3 times, just to make sure my technique is like dialed in, just to make sure I can grip it okay. But other than that, I don't do very much conventional. I just don't get much out of it except injuries. And that being mostly because I have a posterior tilt, so it's just extremely difficult to get into conventional position without putting my back in a kind of risky position. But yeah, I'm kind of running out of time, so I want to get into what I plan on doing split-wise. The plan is to do a 6-day split, but I only train 3 days a week. So basically, if this is the start, I would do sumo Monday. Wednesday, I would do upper body without bench for recovery, because bench and deadlift kind of fuck with my shoulders, so I gotta keep those far apart. The next day I would do a back squat, which is fine on my shoulders because I go high bar. So that'd be Friday. The next Monday I would do bench press. The next Wednesday I would front squat, so I can keep bench as far away from deadlift as possible. And then the next Wednesday I would do upper. The next Friday I think I would do deadlift. I think I fucked that up. I'm not necessarily. Basically, I'm alternating, leg, like back deadlift days and upper body days. I'm keeping bench and deadlift as far away as possible to kind of leave my bicep tendon. Give my bicep tendon as much rest as possible to give my shoulder as much rest as possible. And then I'm keeping back squats and deadlifts away from each other to give my posterior chain as much recovery time as possible. So, anyways, barbell permission, apparel.com for all the gear I wear, of course. We have a sale right now, and that's it.